It's surrendering yourself, your ego, emptying your mind, become aware of what's really is going on. As simple as that. And that state is as if, as Bolte Taylor mentioned, a state of Nirvana. And the reason why I can relate to is my awakening, which is 22 years ago, year 2000, at Vipassana. With that awakening experience, something changed in my mind-body construct, and I had this tingling sensation, inner body sensation, clarity within myself, and vibrating of the cells across the whole body. And the mind is calm, quiet, and just be aware. To me, that's very similar, if not identical, with Bolte Taylor's experience when she lost the left brain. So there's no word, logic functioning. I call it can be Nirvana, or it could be like the Garden of Eden, before you start to use the word, after biting the apple and work with logic. It's a pure state of being, and that pure state of being is called Pure Land in Shin Buddhism. And my sense from Zen and Vipassana, Bolte Taylor's expression, which I shared in the video, and Shin Buddhism of Pure Land idea, so that you surrender yourself for the vow of Mida, brings this state of Pure Land as expressed by Saichi. They all point the same experience. I was reading Eckhart Tolle's book at the end of the last few pages of the book, The Power of Now, and he's talking about surrender and pure awareness, inner body sensation, and let go. So all these experiences point the same Nirvana, Pure Land, whatever you call it. And what's so amazing is even now I can relate to that state as I talk. So I can still talk and relate, maybe not as accentuated. With that, let's start to take a look at Saichi's poem. This is from the book called Mysticism, Christian and Buddhist, by Daisetsu Suzuki, and he was relating to Meister Eckhart, also now talking about Saichi, and there may be 10 or so poems that I want to share. The first one: I am a happy man indeed. I visit the Pure Land as often as I like. I'm there, I'm back. I'm there, I'm back. I'm there, I'm back. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. I feel the same. I can go visit my Nirvana or Pure Land or Garden of Eden, whatever the term, and I come back. In fact, like I'm doing, while I have this sensation, I can still use my mind. So, eating the apple at the Garden of Eden and still functioning as if I am in the Garden of Eden. And the case, as explained in this poem by Saichi, point the same thing, that he goes in and out. As I see his background, he looks like he's a wooden carver, the sandalwood carving as a main occupation. He seems to be very introvert. So he wrote those poems which count 10,000, and still many are lost because of the fire and so forth, but more than 6,000 is available. And that is not to show anyone, but for his own. But he shared with a monk in the temple living in the town, which is a remote town in Japan, next to the ocean. Not many people. So it's very secluded environment. And he's living alone, connecting to Amida Buddha. And to me, this is like one of the examples I thought is Brother Lawrence, that I found from the book of Daisetsu Suzuki, who is a Frenchman, I believe, in the monastery, taking care of the kitchen duties. And he's alone, doing the job, but as if he's living with God, talking to each other. And as much as Saichi is doing, that he is talking with the Amida Buddha. And in fact, Namu Amida Butsu means you let go of yourself, take a refuge in Amida Buddha. So he and Amida Buddha become one. Oneness, no duality. Except he can still use the mind. So that's the kind of a interesting situation, like I was pointing my sense of being in the Garden of Eden, but be able to use the brain. So that's the point of his saying, I'm there and I'm back, and I'm there and I'm back. And reflecting my postings, the sense of when you are there or here, whatever the case may be, the Pure Land situation, to me is like a sense of appreciation of life, that you're lively and happy. And then you go back to the world, so to speak, daily work, but you can always connect. So you go back and forth. So that's the first poem. Second, how happy I am, Namu Amida Butsu. I am the land of bliss. I'm Oyasama, Namu Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu. So land of bliss is the sensation. My sensation seems to be indicating like his sensation possibly, or Bolte Taylor talking about this all whole cells are vibrating. And she felt she's like a universe. And Saichi says, I'm Oya-sama. Oya means parent. So he is Saichi, but he's also Oya-sama, who is Amida Buddha. So Namu Amida Butsu is the two of them together, because you take a refuge in Amida Buddha, so you are surrendering yourself and be able to be in the land of bliss. He's alive. His ego is dead, if you want to call that. And he found the Pure Land. 3, shining in glory is Buddha's Pure Land. And this is my Pure Land. Nami Amida Butsu, Namu Amida Butsu. 4, O Saichi, talking to himself, where is your land of bliss? My land of bliss is right here. Where is the line of division between this world and the land of bliss? The I is the line of division. And Daisetsu Suzuki point, this I may mean like a eye of Eckhart. The I which you see God is the I God sees you. So there's a division, but you can relate to each other. Saichi and Oyama-sama, Amida is one. And that's the sense of Namo Amida Butsu. Number 5, when I worship thee, when I worship you, O Buddha, this is a Buddha worshipping another Buddha. I think he's talking about him being a Buddha to the Buddha, the first one. It is you who make this fact known to me, O Buddha. For this favor, Saichi is most grateful. So he is just a wood carver turning out to be Buddha, reflecting to each other the eye through which he sees Buddha is the eye the Buddha sees him, and both are melting together. 6, O Saichi, what makes you work? I work by the Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So he is in the zone. 7, how grateful I feel. Everything I do in this world, my daily work for the livelihood, this is all transferred into building up the Pure Land. He's living in the Pure Land. And he knows that. 8, I work in this world in company with all Buddhas. I work in this world in company with all Bodhisattvas. Protected by Oyasama, I'm here. I know many who have preceded me along this path. I'm sporting in the midst of the Nami Amida Butsu. How happy I am with the favor, Namo Amida Butsu. The favor is, of course, for the Buddha, for Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha's vote to save everyone, and he's being chosen as one of them. 9, perfectly indifferent I am. No joy, no gratefulness, yet no grief over the absence of gratefulness. His mood may swing, if you want to call that. So there may be a moment that you are in bliss, but there's a moment that you are indifferent. No joy, no gratefulness, just the way it is. But at the same time, there's no grief over the absence of gratefulness. Actually, this reminds me of Rinzai, who said something similar to that. His point was, when there's a time when there's nothing, and he's just fine with that. Something like that. 10. O Saichi, such as you are you grateful to Amida? No particular feelings I have. However much I listen to the sermons, and this for no reason. 11. Just a couple more. O Saichi, I'm the most fortunate person. He's talking to himself. That's the most fortunate. I'm altogether free from woes of all kind. Not at all troubled with anything of the world. Nor do I even recite the Namo Amida Butsu. I'm saved by your mercifulness, Amida-san. How pleased I feel for your favor. Namami Tabutsu. There are moments that he is in repentance, or the mood is different, but he can switch around. So there's a different phase of his daily life. Sometimes in the bliss, sometimes indifference, sometimes repenting, and sometimes overjoying. So I feel the same in my daily life. Sometimes I have this delusionary thought. Actually, one of the interesting thoughts I had was that today I was cooking burdock and cooking, and I feel this blissful sensation. At the time, I was picturing I still have some business, so in some cases there's some discussion with this person or a few people. And when I talk, in my imagination, in this case, I could see him talking with all the puppet, me and him in his imagination, figuring out what to do. But I could see that happening as if I'm not involved in that process. So all these things you can say is like a fake, but in the mind, it's like in the screen, people are there discussing what to do and how to sometimes manipulate or say this or not to say this. And I'm watching and thinking, oh, that's interesting, because I'm not part of that equation, but just observing as a fake or delusionary thought. So when you have that sense of bliss or being in the Pure Land or Nirvana, everything becomes clear. You can call it as wisdom, or you can see through things without getting trapped or drawn into whatever the situation is. You can detach yourself. So when he says, not at all troubled with anything of the world, I can see that happening within myself too. Except, as I mentioned, Saichi sometimes get into that troubled state. That's why one of the statues and the painting he had, his face, the head, has two horns. And that's what he requested to the painter, saying that I have those delusions popping up. In fact, one of the poems I remember him saying was that something like, in my house, there are two devils. One is me and the other is my wife. Something like that. So he can see the picture of what's happening, putting himself outside and seeing himself. Kind of like I was talking about my little encounter, the imagination, and how things can happen as if watching on the scene, but you're not involved. You're not part of the devil or the confused state or caught up in the mind. So one question I have is that this state and this state of being I have been in, and it seems to be enhancing, I'm just curious where it may go. Maybe the same, maybe different, maybe I have some difficulties that I may struggle, but for the sake of my recording and for the memory, I thought maybe good, as I have been posting various videos. So this is for that occasion. Okay, this is the last one, 12. While walking along the mountain path, how I enjoy smoking. Oh, he's smoking cigarette, I guess. I sit by the roadside for a while. I take out the pipe in peace and with no trouble, beclouding the mind. Beclouding the mind. Emptying, perhaps. Calm and quiet. But let us go home now. We have been out long enough. Let us go home now. How light my steps are as they move homeway. My thoughts are filled with a return trip to Amida's country. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Maybe that's the sense that he may have felt when he is passing by. It's time to go. Move back to home. My thoughts are filled with a return trip to Amida country. In and out, in and out. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Interesting story. Thank you.